RBCs are released. If you take blood, there is one reticulocyte among 100 RBC. Sometimes we ask this investigation to know what is the status of reticulocyte. Normally, it is about 1%. That shows that everything is normal with the formation of RBC, with the bone marrow. Reticulocyte count is only high when the bone marrow is making more RBCs because there is a demand. Now we talk about absolute polycythemia. There are two types of polycythemia. In one type, you will find that there is bone marrow hyperplasia due to hyperplasia of erythroid. Everything is normal with bone marrow erythroid series, but they are excessively stimulated by erythropoietin hormone. Again, I repeat, you will have increased number of RBC because bone marrow is forming it, because there is excessive stimulation of bone marrow by erythropoietin factor. It means that in this type of polycythemia, where bone marrow is normal, but there is excessive stimulation by erythropoietin factor, in this type of polycythemia, if you see the level of erythropoietin factor, it is always found higher. It is always found higher. If polycythemia occurs because has become autonomous in proliferation, means that the proliferation of erythroid series is not under control of erythropoietin factor. It is then called neoplastic condition. I hope it is clear to you. Again I repeat, the polycythemia, which is due to increased level of erythropoietin factor with normal bone marrow, is called secondary polycythemia. And polycythemia in which you have decreased erythropoietin factor, but the bone marrow has become autonomous, it has become neoplastic, it is called polycythemia vera. Polycythemia vera. Now look at whatever is the reason of polycythemia, whether it is primary polycythemia, a neoplastic condition, or it is secondary polycythemia, which is not neoplastic, but it is because of increased erythropoietin factor. Whatever it is, if you have polycythemia, let us look at what happens at the circulation. What is the pathophysiology? Whenever somebody has got polycythemia, his blood viscosity is increased. Number one. This is the beginning of the next event. Whenever somebody has got polycythemia, the blood viscosity is increased due to high hematocrit. The plasma is less than the cellular element. The blood becomes thick. Number one. Whenever blood viscosity is increased, the peripheral resistance is also increased. And whenever peripheral resistance is increased, if you look at the formula of blood pressure, the blood pressure is equal to peripheral resistance into cardiac output. It means that the blood pressure will increase. It means that the load on the heart is increased because the heart has to pump the blood into circulation, which shows increased peripheral resistance due to increase in viscosity. Not only that, due to viscosity, the blood flow becomes sluggish. Blood flow becomes sluggish. This is a common sense that whenever the blood is thicker, whenever its viscosity is increased, the flow will be sluggish. And this flow is minimum. It is more marked and noticed in the veins. In the veins. And among the veins, the leg veins are more vulnerable. There is almost a stasis of blood in the leg veins. And if you remember, stasis of blood in veins make a person vulnerable to develop venous thrombus. The person is vulnerable to have venous thrombosis. And of course, these venous thrombi are very loosely attached to the venous wall, and they can get easily detached from their site of origin, and they always travel to reach to the lung, into lung vascularity, and they produce pulmonary embolism. So minded, having polycythemia means the person is vulnerable to hypertension, vulnerable to deep vein thrombosis, vulnerable to have pulmonary embolism. And these are serious conditions. One has to look at it seriously. Now let us talk about secondary polycythemia. Secondary polycythemia. The secondary polycythemia, as I told you, the bone marrow is always normal. It is only excessively stimulated by erythropoietin hormone. Erythropoietin hormone. So any condition which results into increased secretion of erythropoietin factor will lead to secondary polycythemia. And any condition which causes increased secretion of erythropoietin factor is associated mainly with hypoxia. So any hypoxic condition in a person, any chronic hypoxic condition in a person will lead to secondary polycythemia. For example, if somebody has got lung diseases, chronic lung diseases, in which the oxygenation of the blood is compromised, that person is having chronic hypoxia. For example, chronic bronchitis in later stages, for example, bronchiectasis, for example, bronchial asthma, for example, emphysema, or somebody has got tuberculosis with extensive lung fibrosis, or somebody has got allergic fibrosing alveolitis. All these conditions are associated with chronic hypoxia. Besides that, if somebody has got kyphosis, hump on the back, Hunchback of the Notre Dame. If somebody has got kyphosis, he cannot expand his lung and having a smoldering element of hypoxia. He is also going to develop polycythemia, secondary polycythemia. So all the chronic lung diseases in which there is an element of smoldering hypoxia, they will clinically present with polycythemia, that is secondary polycythemia. Because of the chronic hypoxia, these people have high level of erythropoietin factor. Besides that, any person having right to left shunt means that person having congenital heart disease like Fallot's tetralogy, or person having a hole in the ventricular septum, later on he develops reverse shunt, means that the blood from the right side is going to the left side, having cyanosis. Or there are certain conditions in which in various tissues, bony condition, I will not go into detail, where there is arteriovenous fistula formation. Arteriovenous fistula formation. All these conditions result into chronic hypoxia. If somebody goes at higher altitude, again he is having an element of hypoxia. So any condition in which you have chronic hypoxia will complicate into secondary polycythemia. And how will you make a diagnosis of secondary polycythemia? A good clinical history. If you look at the history, you know the cause, that the person is having chronic hypoxia. If you ask for the investigation, you have blood CP in which hemoglobin is at higher side, hematocrit is higher, and the RBC count is increased. Besides that, you ask for erythropoietin factor. If it is secondary polycythemia, erythropoietin factor will always be higher. So this is your diagnosis of secondary polycythemia. If you talk about primary polycythemia, in which, okay, besides that, we are talking about again secondary polycythemia. Besides that, there are certain malignancies in the body. For example, carcinoma of kidney. For example, carcinoma, small cell carcinoma of the lung. For example, the malignancies of the liver, in which you may have paraneoplastic syndrome, in which malignancies, they secrete erythropoietin factor. So you may have secondary polycythemia as a result of malignancy. And sometimes, of course, the malignancies are diagnosed because the people, they present with polycythemia, secondary polycythemia with high level of erythropoietin factor. Now we come to the primary polycythemia, and most characteristic finding in primary polycythemia is that the erythropoietin factor is very, very low. Erythropoietin factor is very, very low. It is a neoplastic condition of the bone marrow, predominantly of erythroid series, in which the erythroid series becomes autonomous in proliferation. Normally, the proliferation of the erythroid series is controlled by feedback mechanism. Of physiology, whenever hemoglobin becomes normal or above normal, the erythroid series will slow down its proliferation via erythropoietin factor, because if you have a normal hemoglobin or more than normal hemoglobin, the erythropoietin factor will decrease in concentration. Less erythropoietin factor will be released from kidney. If you have low hemoglobin, the erythropoietin factor will be increased so that it can stimulate for the proliferation of erythroid series. But in polycythemia vera, or primary polycythemia, the negative feedback control over the erythroid series is lost. They become autonomous. They will keep on multiplying. They will keep on multiplying. That's why, and this is a very important characteristic feature of neoplasm. They keep on multiplying. Even if you remove the cause. So most characteristic feature of primary polycythemia is that the erythropoietin factor is low. The clinical features of polycythemia, whether it is secondary or it is primary, the person is going to have a dusky blue face. Dusky blue face. Yeah? Achha. The person having polycythemia will have dusky blue face because that blood in microcirculation is very sluggish. More of the oxygen is extracted because of prolonged staying in microcirculation, and the hemoglobin appears more bluish in color because of deoxygenation. More than normal oxygen from the hemoglobin is extracted because of prolonged stay. That is why they have dusky blue face. If you check their blood pressure, it will be on higher side. It will be on higher side. The complication of polycythemia is, the most important one is pulmonary embolism. Pulmonary embolism. So this is brief about polycythemia. You can ask any question if you have any query regarding polycythemia. I am giving you only 2 minutes. Any question, please? Okay, I hope you have no queries in your mind. Now let us talk about platelets. Let us talk about platelets. The platelets are also formed in bone marrow. The platelets are also formed in bone marrow. The normal count of platelets in the periphery, they range between 150,000 to 300,000. The platelets are very important. They play a very important role in hemostasis. They play a very important role in hemostasis. The smaller vessels or microcirculatory vessels, they are very vulnerable. They are often broken normally during your activity. And normally what happens, these platelets, they plug the leakage site. If you remember the clotting mechanism, exposed two phenomena, they occur at the same time. One is activation of intrinsic clotting mechanism. The activation of factor 12, Hagman factor. It is activated. Whenever endothelial damage occurs, subendothelial area is exposed and intrinsic clotting mechanism is activated. At the same time, subendothelial area, which is exposed due to endothelial injury, it activates the platelets in the circulation. Not only that, the platelets are activated, they stick to each other and they stick to the side of subendothelial area which is exposed. So normally, a small breakage in microcirculation is normally blocked by sticking of the platelets, and it stops leaking of the blood and flow. So platelets are very important component for hemostasis. Hemostasis, as you know, it refers to the mechanism in which whenever a vessel is broken or damaged, bleeding occurs, the body has got a system which will stop the bleeding. That is called hemostasis. And the platelets, they play a very important role. So you can imagine when a person is not having platelets in circulation, the person is having a tendency of prolonged bleeding, especially the bleeding of microcirculatory vasculature, tiny bleeding. And if somebody has got this problem, you can see on the skin petechial hemorrhage, a small tiny bleeding spot that is called petechial pinhead size petechial hemorrhage. And depending upon the severity of how much platelets are decreased, it is said that when platelets count goes beyond less than 40,000, the person develops tendency of bleeding from any side of the body. Clinically, if you examine the skin of such person, you will find petechial hemorrhage. And if it is severe, the person may have hematuria, person may have epistaxis, person may have hemoptysis. It is all because that there are decreased platelet count. If you examine, if you do a test condition in which platelets are decreased, thrombocytopenia, that is called thrombocytopenia. It can be confirmed by bleeding time. If you check the bleeding time of such person, it is always prolonged. And the best thing you do, you take the blood and check and count the platelets. They are always low. The point is that why the platelets counts are low. And mind it, thrombocytopenia in Pakistan, in Karachi, is a very common phenomenon. It is a life-threatening condition, especially whenever there is an epidemic. Every year you have an epidemic of malaria. Every year you have epidemic of dengue fever. These people, they have decreased platelet count so much low that they often die because of bleeding. In a state of emergency in the town in Karachi, when you have dengue and malaria. So one should be well aware about the causes of thrombocytopenia. Thrombocytopenia occurs because no thrombocyte is formed from bone marrow. Again, I repeat, thrombocytopenia occurs because no thrombocytes are formed in bone marrow. And The progenitor cell is megakaryocyte in the bone marrow. The bone marrow is not forming platelets. Why? The cause is number one. The person has got a malignancy in the bone marrow. The commonest malignancy is leukemia. And among leukemia, acute leukemia, acute myeloblastic leukemia, acute lymphoblastic leukemia. Of megakaryocytes, they suppress them, they occupy their area. Then there are less megakaryocytes. Always remember, any person having acute leukemia will have thrombocytopenia. So number one, less thrombocytes are formed because there are malignancies in bone marrow. The commonest one are acute leukemia. Acute leukemia means acute myeloid leukemia, acute lymphoblastic leukemia. Or you have lymphoma in the bone marrow, which has encroached the bone marrow. Or you have given drugs. There are certain types of drugs which suppress the bone marrow. Not only platelets, even erythroid series and myeloid series, they are also suppressed. In that condition, it is called pancytopenia. There are many types of drugs, especially the drugs which are used in treatment of malignancy. Whenever you treat malignancy by chemotherapeutic agent, all the chemotherapeutic agent, they suppress the labile tissue. And erythroid, megakaryoid, and the myeloid series are included in the group of labile tissue. So you have to have a check on the count of platelet, RBCs and WBCs whenever you are giving chemotherapeutic agent. Radiation, it will suppress the formation of blood cells, including WBC, RBC and platelet. Certain antibiotics, the antibiotics which are commonly used, they can suppress the bone marrow. Certain analgesic drugs, they can suppress the bone marrow. Immunosuppressive drugs, they can suppress the bone marrow. They may lead to thrombocytopenia. Or bone marrow is suppressed by viral infection. The commonest one you have in our Karachi is dengue fever. Besides that, you have malaria. Besides that, you have bacteria, typhoid bacteria. They also suppress the bone marrow. And the person may come with decrease in platelet count. So one thing now we understand that thrombocytopenia, develops because the bone marrow is either encroached by certain malignancy or by certain non-malignant conditions like tuberculosis, sarcoidosis, or bone marrow is not making platelet because bone marrow is suppressed by certain drugs, radiation, or infection like viral infection. The best example is dengue fever, malaria, or typhoid fever. So you have to make out the cause of thrombocytopenia. Besides that, you can have thrombocytopenia because it is not the formation of platelets. They are normally formed in bone marrow. But when they come into circulation, they are destroyed by antibodies, autoantibodies. Here the cause of thrombocytopenia is immune in origin. There is a condition called idiopathic thrombocytopenic purpura, ITP, idiopathic thrombocytopenic purpura, ITP, an autoimmune disease in which the person is forming antibodies against the platelet. So the platelet in these conditions are prematurely destroyed. It is well established disease. It occurs in adults, commonly in fair color people. जिनका रंग गोरा होता है उनमें ज्यादा होती है. And they have enlarged spleen. The enlargement of spleen is because the antibody and platelet complex is taken to a spleen and the liver, where you have reticulocyte and reticuloendothelial cells, macrophages. They engulf it. Right. So the only treatment, besides that, again, okay, the only treatment for thrombocytopenia is to replace the thrombocyte by transfusion. Okay, we call it a day right now, and inshallah tomorrow we will talk again about other. I will let you know which disease we are going to talk later. You have any question, please you can ask.